Hi there. A couple of days ago, Apple released the new operating system for Mac. OS 13 Ventura is out and available to the general public. There are some changes. Some good changes, and some that make you scratch your head. Today we're going to focus on accessibility vision settings that are pertinent to the visually impaired folks. Those of us that have low vision, legally blind, and so forth. Sound like it's something that you'd be interested in? We got some information that you're going to need to check out. Should you update? Should you stay where you're at? Those are questions we're going to answer. Check it out. After being made aware that I had a download available, or should I say an update available for my Mac operating system, I decided, what the heck, let's go ahead and install that, download and install, if for nothing else, just to see what changes had been made, if they were good or bad, and most importantly, for any security updates that Apple was including in the update. So one of the first things that I noticed was, let's go ahead and kind of zoom in here for my little notes app here. I was making some notes that kind of helped along with that. And I'm going to move the cursor up to the top of the list. Then I'm going to punch my VO keys and see what happens.
Downloaded and installed iMac OS 13. Changes. 1. System preferences is now system settings.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Now what that is talking about is when we move over here, and I'm sorry, I apologize for the herky-jerky motion here. When we go over to the Apple and we click on the Apple and we go, let me go ahead and zoom in here just a bit, make it easier for us to see, those of us with a visual impairment. It starts out the same as before, about this Mac, and then system preferences is now system settings. So that's what I was talking about there. Now we move back over here to my little, again, I hope this isn't bothering anybody moving in and out. But, it's kind of like the first thing on my list was system preferences is now system settings. Then the second thing was the settings seem to appear more like they do on iOS devices. So they're kind of, embracing that commonality. So if you're used to working on your iPhone or your iPad and then you go to your Mac, all the settings seem to be a lot closer in format than they had been in the past. So when let's just slide back over here now. Here is accessibility. And here is the way that the system settings are shown now. If you look, there's this. Everything's down the left column here. And then when you select one and open it, selected and highlighted accessibility, then this is what appears. So now it's broken these things up in dialog boxes where first tab under accessibility is vision. And then in the dialog box under vision, the first thing is VoiceOver, Zoom, display, spoken content, and description. And descriptions, that's where you turn on the ability for, well, let me just show you that real quick since some have asked about that in the past. And again, I can move my cursor to the front of the line, click on it, then hit my VO key. Nope, it doesn't do that. So, but anyway, play audio descriptions when available. Audio descriptions provide a spoken description of visual content in media. And I have that turned on. I'm just going to play around with that just a little bit. But once we get here, we've got this set the way we want to. We have the arrow. We can click back and we can go into some of the other things. If you like to do the spoken content, you can open spoken content. And let me go ahead and zoom out here so it's a little bit easier to see. You can see, the system speech language. For me, it's, US. Spoken voice. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit easier so it makes it easier for me to see. The system voice. As you can use, see, I am using Samantha. You can change that right here to something different. But I have Samantha, and then there's Samantha Enhanced. We can take on Samantha Enhanced. And then here it says speaking rate. It's about 50%. We can speed that up a bit. And then here it says speaking volume. I have that turned all the way up, and I can play a sample here.
Hello, my name is Samantha. I am an American English voice.
Maybe that's a little bit quick. Maybe we can slow that back down just a little bit. Play it again.
Hello, my name is Samantha. I am an American English voice.
So we'll leave it there for now. But this is where you would go. System, speech, languages, spoken or system voice, speaking rate, speaking volume. Then below that is speaking announcements. You can speak selections. I have that turned on, so when I select something, it will speak that. You can also speak items under the pointer. That I find is annoying. You might enjoy that. Let me turn it on for just a second. It's not going to work here, but it does work in other places when I don't want it to, so I keep that turned off. It's speak typing feedback. I don't need to hear the feedback if I type this letter, this character, that character. Excuse me, frog in my throat. If that's something that you like, you can turn it on right here. So let's see what is next. And then there's a question box. You can open this box and it will present this dialog box here. Whereas if you don't want to take the time to read that, I should be able to put my cursor up here at the top of that, highlight that, and hit my VO key.
Change spoken content settings for accessibility on Mac. On your Mac, use spoken content settings to customize the system voice. Be notified when an alert or app needs your attention, and set other options for content your Mac can speak aloud. To change these settings, choose Apple menu, System Settings, click Accessibility in the sidebar, then click Spoken Content on the right. You may need to scroll down. Open Spoken Content Settings for me. Option.
So you have all these options here that you can kind of scroll through at your leisure. But this is, something that's a little bit different, but it always has been an option. So, what would be next on the list? While we're taking a look at this from the bottom to the top, that was the spoken content display. Display is kind of self-explanatory. Invert colors. That's where you find reduce motion and all these good things here. In the menu bar size, you can go over here and you can, select large, or you can make it default. I like to have mine larger so I can see it, so I don't have to zoom in quite so much. And display contrast, normal, maximum, and it's basically a grayscale. You can move this so far, and it will kind of change. See how it changes, how it gets a lot darker or gets a little bit more on the gray side. You can play around with that so that it provides the amount of contrast that you like. For me, let me see, I'm going to zoom out here just a little bit so it makes more sense. As I move this direction, it gets brighter. For some folks, that is perfect. For me, I like it to be a little bit more on the darker side, so I'm going to grab that with my pointer. I'm going to slide it, and the background gets darker, and it just adds a bit more contrast. I don't need all this because see now how the lines have disappeared? Now they're coming back, and I'm talking about like these lines right here that kind of outline each particular item on the list. about like such. That's where I'm going to leave that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so I can see the pointer. Now here again is, shake mouse pointer to locate it. If it's off the screen somewhere and you want to find it, you just kind of wiggle it back and forth with this turned on, and it will help you find that. I just go ahead and quickly move the mouse pointer back and forth to make it bigger. So we just get it larger. And then here's your pointer size here. And as you see, the farther you drag it, the bigger it gets. So if it's down here and you turn this on and you shake it, doesn't have a lot of impact, does it? But you can adjust your pointer size right here so that it's the size that works best for you, so it doesn't cover up too much information. So let's go ahead and go back up here and back out of display. And then from display, there is zoom. We'll open zoom. Here is where you can use the keyboard shortcut to zoom. Turn that on or off. I've got it turned off. Use a keyboard gesture to zoom, the trackpad gesture to zoom. I keep that turned off as well. Use scroll gestures with modifier keys to zoom. I have that turned on. And then modifier key for the scroll gesture is command. You can open this up and you can change it from command to control, whatever you would like. And basically, if you take and hold the command key down and swipe up or down, there you go. Zoom style, full screen, or choose a display. I go with the full screen. It works best for me. Then you can get into the advanced settings here. Hover text, press command to display an image text view of the item under the pointer. I don't need to do that. I just use that. I just zoom in and out of it. So if you want, you can change that here. So let's back out of this, and after zoom is VoiceOver, and here it explains what VoiceOver is. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. And I have mine set so that the pointer kind of stays in the center of the screen. Some folks like it so that they can have the screen centered here and then just move the pointer to follow along the line. It makes it easier for them to read. That's all well and good. I just happen to be one of those folks. I just like to have the screen move underneath the pointer. But I don't have VoiceOver enabled here. And you can go through here and you can find out what the VoiceOver training is and how you can set this up. I'm going to go into VoiceOver utility. Zoom out here just a bit. And under VoiceOver utility is where if you want to have the computer speak something, a particular phrase to you when you first fire it up and it opens up, you can go in here and you can select this box. You can change that to whatever. It can say good morning or call you by name. Say good morning, Rocky, or whatever you want it to say. This is where you would change it here. I'm just going to leave it as, VoiceOver is on. And the display welcome dialog when VoiceOver starts. So basically, that's what that does. Keys to use as a VoiceOver modifier. This is where you would go in and select what modifier keys you would want to use to enable VoiceOver. So if I were to click here in this box and then I hit my VoiceOver keys,
VoiceOver is on.
That's what causes it to read. I can do that again.
VoiceOver is on.
Other than that, I don't use some of the other functionality of VoiceOver. I just have it set up so that Me personally, I can just select something and it will read what I have selected and not read the whole entire screen. You can go through and set that up, and that's where you would find that in the VoiceOver tutorial. So that basically is what has come to pass, or what has come to change under the VoiceOver utility, under accessibility. And here on this side, on the left side of the screen, is where all of the other goodies have been located. You want different parts of the VoiceOver. Here is, let me zoom in here a little bit. Generally speaking, this is the Generals tab for VoiceOver utility. You want to work on verbosity. Here's where you would come and find the verbosity. Speech. Here's another place where you can select speech, select the voice, which we've already done. Navigation. This is where you go in and you set up how it will do all that good stuff. Web, sound. You can turn this stuff on. You see I've got a lot of it unselected because I just don't care for a lot of that information. And we have all the other little goodies here that are a part of that. And, speaking, using VoiceOver with Braille, I guess I never have used that. If you have and you can fill me in on how that works, I'd be extremely interested in finding out. I don't do Braille myself. Last time I did anything with Braille was when I was at the Heinz Blind Rehab Center. My first trip up there, they introduced us to basic Braille, the kind of stuff that you need to use elevators and stuff that you find out in the world that is part of that American Disabilities Act requirements. Other than that, I'm pretty ignorant as far as using Braille. I know basically how it works. I just don't use it. VoiceOver recognition. We'll check that out here real quick. And this is where you can go in and let's see, will it want to read that to us if I select it and hit my VoiceOver keys?
General, verbosity, speech, navigation, web.
Nope. See, that's some of the things that VoiceOver is good at and other things that it's not good at. Because I can't select this text module here, put my pointer over it, try to drag across it, and it doesn't. So then that's when I just have to personally zoom in so I can read it word by word. And you can read as well as I can, I would hope. But this is where I have the image description turned on. Your Mac will speak descriptions of images in apps and on the web. And this is where you can go in right here and download additional languages. I tried that once and it was a bit buggy. Maybe I should say a lot buggy. Hopefully you'll have better luck at that than I did. If you need to set up a different language that you can access through the rotor and whatnot, but we'll save that topic for another day. So basically this is how the operating system on the Mac has changed in Mac OS 13. So we're just going to cover the vision part of that today because we are focusing on overcoming low vision challenges, and this is what Apple has done to make that all possible. Well, there you go. The first look at Apple's Mac OS 13 Ventura update for the iMac and MacBook Pro. iMac, MacBook Pro. I wonder, which do you prefer? Are you a laptop person? A MacBook person? Are you, on the desktop type person? If you wouldn't care to, take a minute, look down the comment section, and let me know. Laptop, desktop. Or maybe, just maybe, you consume most of your media, or you do most of your smart stuff on an iPhone or an iPad? I'd like to know that as well. Then, what do you think? Is Apple on the right track here with changing everything to make it more common so the settings look the same on the desktop, the laptops, iPhones, and iPads? Does that help you out? I'm kind of getting used to it. I'm kind of warming up to it myself. I think if your laptop or your desktop will support the upgrade, I would say go ahead and download and install it. If for no other reason, for the security reasons and the commonality, I think it's a good move. What do you think? Post that in the comment section down below too, if you wouldn't care. I really appreciate that. While you're at it, if you like this content, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you think I missed the mark or I misspoke or said something that you disagree with, you can go ahead and give me a thumbs down. That's okay. At least that way I know where I stand. Consider subscribing if you have not already, and make sure that you check the notification and maybe ring that bell, that notification, that all button. That way when we post a new video or we respond to a comment, you'll know what's going on. You'll keep in touch. You'll keep up to speed, so to speak. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to share and watch and comment. Remember, it's a lot of hard work, but it's worth it in the end to do what's required to overcome low vision challenges. Thank you very much. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Bye.